Hello, my name is Kate and welcome to our YouTube channel. With the release of the 1950 census this month, we're going to discuss differences from previous censuses, where you can access it, and how to search the 1950 census. So the 1950 census was the 17th census of the United States, and New York proved to be the most populous state, while Nevada was the least populous, and Kentucky ranked 19th as the most populous state. So these statistics have been available and searchable, and you can currently view statistical data and reports on characteristics related to housing and population information. However, there is a 72-year rule, which is where the personal data comes in, and the 72-year rule states that enumeration information can only be released 72 years after the census was taken. So the last census, which was the 1940 census, that one was released in April 2012, and the next one, the 1960 census, is scheduled for public release in 2032, and this is to protect personally identifiable information contained in the documents. And this is why the 1950 census is being released now in April 2022. So each census varies a bit in the questions that are asked. On the right here is a zoomed-in image of the 1950 enumeration sheet, and this census asked 20 questions for all people. Some of these included the name of the street, the house number, their relationship to the head of household, the person's name, age, sex, marital status, place of birth, and their naturalization status. If a person was enumerated on a sample line, they could be asked additional questions, such as if they were living in the same house a year ago, what country their father and mother were born in, if it was a female, if she was ever married, and how many children she had born. So these are some of the examples of additional sample questions that could be asked. So the 1950 census, it'll be a very valuable tool for genealogy research and a great opportunity to track family members and fill in gaps in your family tree. You can learn more about occupations, where they lived, and other details about their lives during that time. So moving to differences from the 1940 census, there are a few significant ones, and in 1940, each census page had lines for 40 people, and in 1950 this was reduced to 20 lines to ask sample questions of more people and to give the enumerator more space to write notes and explanations if this was needed. In 1940, everyone aged 14 or older, they were asked if they worked for agencies such as the WPA or the Civilian Conservation Corps and the National Youth Administration. And since these agencies were eliminated during the 1940s, this question was not asked in 1950. And also in 1940, everyone was asked the highest grade of school they had attended. And in 1950, only people on 6 sample lines at the bottom of the enumeration sheet were asked the highest grade and whether they had completed that grade. So these are a few of the significant differences between the 1940 and 1950 censuses. So now that the 1950 census is released, the next question is, where can you go to access the census? So these are the major players that you can utilize to access the records. And the first place to locate them is through the National Archives and Records Administration. They've developed a website to provide free online access, which you can find at 1950census.archives.gov. And some of the records on the site are indexed, but this will be a little different than in years past because they are utilizing optical character recognition and artificial intelligence to analyze the handwriting and transcribe the enumeration sheets. So all of the entries may not be totally accurate, but there is a transcription tool available which allows users to submit name updates, and this feature will continue to improve the accuracy of the index over time. The computer automated indexing will be similar for a couple of databases, and again, it may not be fully precise at first, but Volunteer indexing projects are underway through Ancestry and Family Search, for example, to ensure that the indexing is complete and accurate. And I also wanted to note that Ancestry is going state by state, and you can sign up for email alerts to be notified when they have finished indexing a particular state for the 1950 census. And as of right now, they have completed Wyoming and Delaware so far. So Ancestry Library Edition is available to utilize here inside the library to explore the 1950 census. MyHeritage can also be used to access the records, and this one can be used from home with your Kenton County Library card and pen. And you can access any of these databases at our website, kentonlibrary.org/genealogy. So now that you have access to the census, the next question is, how do you find your family? So as mentioned, the indexing will not be fully accurate, especially here at the beginning. So finding your ancestors by location will be the next step to take when using the census records. So you'll want to ask yourself, do you know where your family lived in 1950? If you answered yes and know the location and the street address, then you can move on to browsing enumeration district maps. And an enumeration district is an area that can be surveyed by a single census taker. And since 1880, all information in the census has been arranged by enumeration district. If we don't know this information, then we're not able to browse the census by location to find our ancestors. So there are two parts to an enumeration number. The first part is a prefix, and this represents the county, or in some cases a large city. And starting in 1940, some large cities were given their own enumeration district numbers. And the county number is 121 for Kenton County in the 1950 census. And then the second part of that number is a district number, which corresponds to a smaller defined area within the county. So below there in blue are enumeration district numbers that you may see for Kenton County residents in the 1950 census. The enumeration district maps are published within the National Archives catalog, so they are searchable there. But I would suggest using Steve Morse's website to locate this information, as I find it to be a little bit more user-friendly. And so his website is stevemorse.org, and this is what it'll look like. And when you get there, you'll click there on the U.S. Census tab, which will then give you a drop-down menu. And on the menu, you'll click on an option near the top, and it'll say Unified 1880 through 1950 Census Enumeration District Finder. And then you'll be taken to this page, and up there at the top in the little drop down, you'll want to make sure it says 1950. And here the search tool will allow you to enter the state, the county, and the town where your family lived at the time of the 1950 census. So as an example, I entered a location where I know some of my family lived at that time. I entered the state of West Virginia, county of Ohio, city of Wheeling, and then below this I included the house number and the street name. And so as you enter this information, results will pop up, and here where this red arrow is pointing in blue, these are the enumeration district numbers that correspond with the location that I entered. So if you're unable to find your family, browsing through these enumeration district sheets will be the best way to track them down. So this is helpful, but it's still giving me the possibility of several different districts that I would have to browse through. And each of the population schedules are about 30 pages on average, so I want to try to avoid browsing through all of those, and I want to make my results more precise. So you also have the option there above the red arrow to select cross streets and back streets, and this will reduce the number of results. So I just used Google Maps to identify other streets around this block, and you can see that I entered a couple of streets, Richland Avenue and 3rd Street North, and this and after I entered this, I'm left with only one result, which is Enumeration District 5839. So this should be what my family is enumerated under. And so we're going to shift over and we can double check the enumeration district. The National Archives has them available in their catalog, which are also linked on Steve Morse's website. And this is the map for the area where my ancestors were living. This map covers 58 districts 58-1 to 58-109, and the numbers signifying the various enumeration districts within the county are in orange. And they're difficult to see here, but you are able to zoom in when viewing them on the National Archives website. So this is a zoomed in view of the enumeration district map for the city, and I paged around the map to locate the street where the house was located that my family lived in. Especially if you're not familiar with the area where your family lived during this census, it can be helpful to plug the address into Google Maps to get a better idea of the town, streets, and various landmarks. So the red arrow is pointing to the area where their house was, and it is in District 5839, which matches what we found when we searched Steve Morse's website. So this is where I should be looking to find them in the 1950 census. So jumping back over to our results, on Steve Morse's site, again the 5839 enumeration district is highlighted in blue. And when you click on this, his website provides direct links to view the population schedules for this district on 3 different websites. So he has direct links to view it on the National Archives site, Family Searcher Ancestry, so you can choose the one that you prefer, or you can navigate separately to another database such as MyHeritage to view them. So that's another option. And for our example, I'm going to show you the National Archives website. So this is what you'll see when you go directly to the home page. Then you'll click on the search link on the top right, and this is the page you'll be directed to. So you have a few search options here. You can enter the state and county, the enumeration district number, or you can search by first and last name, utilizing the new indexing by artificial intelligence. So I searched the location and enumeration district number that I'm looking for, and this is my result. So to view the images in the census and find my family, I'll click there where it says population schedules in blue, and now I can page through the images. And after looking through names in several pages, I located my family on page 24, and now I have the ability to save and download or print the image to keep it for my records if I would like. So we've identified how to find your family in the 1950 census if you know where they were living. But if you're not sure where they might have been living, we can switch gears, and these are some research tools that you can use to help identify where your family was in 1950. So the first tool would be to go back and search the 1940 census, and that will provide information about their location at that time, which can be a good jumping off point. City directories are another great tool. Ancestry Library Edition is one of the databases that has a great collection of Northern Kentucky city directories for Covington and Newport, as well as Cincinnati. So if some of the ancestors that you're searching for lived in one of those places, that'll be a good source to check out, as they provide the home address of the person listed. And historic newspapers may also serve as a window into the location of your ancestors during this time. So newspaper databases such as the Kentucky Post, the Cincinnati Enquirer, Newspaper Archive, and newspapers.com are all available here within the history and genealogy portion of our website. And that's kentonlibrary.org. And then you'll see there in the menu in blue, the fourth one down is Genealogy Databases. So you can navigate there to click on Ancestry Library Edition and find My Past if you're in the branch. And you can also view other databases such as Fold3, MyHeritage, and those from home with your library card and PIN number. So that is an overview of how to navigate the 1950 census to track down your ancestors. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to give us a call at 859-962-4070, send us an email at history@kentonlibrary.org, or stop by the local history and genealogy department in the Covington branch, and we'll be glad to help. Thanks for watching.